Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today, I wanted to talk to you about neuro linguistic programming and how to use it in your magical practice. So, let's talk a little bit about neuro linguistic programming in connection with ASMR and your magical practice. One of the axioms of neurolinguistic programming is the statement: the map is not the territory. Now, what does that mean? Well, your perceptions, as perfect as you may be, your perceptions are not a representation of the totality of the world around you. Most of them are intensely colored by your childhood experiences, the roots of your fears, discomfort, avoidance, and all of these other things that are often based in your reactions and emotions, but not in the truth of the situation. How often have you reacted poorly to something and you realize later that your reaction was unnecessary and that you would have been better off if you hadn't reacted that way? Now, it's called reframing. You look at things from this completely different perspective. Look at all of the different angles and see if the way that you see a situation is necessarily conducive to the result, not even is your perception true or is your perception based in reality, but is your perception based in your desired outcome. Another key to really utilizing neurolinguistic programming is to determine your ideal sensory language, the way that your brain communicates best using sensory stimuli. Do you react to hearing words? Are you an auditory learner? Are you a visual learner? Most ASMR videos utilize at least sight and sound. Many also utilize olfactory stimuli. The person making the video might ask you to think about a certain scent or taste. And most ASMR videos, even though they are videos and you are not in the same room as the person who is doing the video, they still incorporate the sense of touch. Now, you figure out the best way for your brain to communicate. You can utilize that form of stimuli and your reframing processes to heighten your magical programming, i.e., ritual and spell work. You can also create rapport with other people through breathing exercises and mirroring and using their sensory language to communicate with them. Now, this can be used if you are trying to perform magic on another person, but it can also be used if you are in a group of magical practitioners and you are all working towards a common goal to improve your connection to each other and your result. There are also techniques that you might hear about when you study neuro-linguistic programming as it relates to salesmanship. But you can actually use those very same techniques on yourself to improve the quality and result of your spell work. There is preloading. Which is the idea of giving yourself ahead of time a preconceived idea of the outcome. You are going to have a great time, for example, or this spell or this incantation or this particular evocation of spirit will have a certain result, my desired result, and you implant the idea of that result in your mind. Now, I encourage you to get as specific as you feel like is appropriate with your prior experience. If you haven't worked with a deity before, or you haven't invoked a spirit before, and you are not certain what to expect, I discourage you from forming strong concepts around the sensory aspects of your working. I encourage you instead to understand your feelings. Feelings and how they relate to successful working. Or sometimes you have to change your idea of what a feeling actually means. Now, there is also post-loading, which is the idea that, let's say, you are trying to get someone to help you with a task. I think most people have encountered this. And the example I'm going to give is kind of a negative, but you can use it in a positive way too, and I'll explain that. I'll explain that after I kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about, but I want to make sure that I give you a good explanation on the front end, and then we will use post-loading to incorporate it into our overall understanding. So, post-loading is the idea. You ask your friend, hey, can you help me move on this date? It's only going to take an hour, and I'll take you out to lunch after. That's fair. All right, then the next day you say, hey, I know that you're going to give me your time on this day to help me move. I really need a ride to the post office. Do you have time to do that? And they say, of course, we're best friends. I'm already going to be out there. And then you say, hey, the restaurant I wanted to take you to is kind of far away, and it's close to this shop, and some of the stuff that I am moving out, I was going to take to this video store or this bookstore, and I was going to sell a bunch of it. Is it cool if you drive me over there and we take care of that? Now, your friend probably didn't realize that they were committing to spending a whole day in your company, and they may or may not have had other intentions for that time. Obviously, you're very close friends. No one else would help you move otherwise. But because you made it convenient for them to agree to all of these other things, they did. And it was easy for them, make it easy for them to say yes. Now, how does this work? How does this incorporate into your magical practice? You can use post-loading on yourself. I do want to mention this. I don't think it's a good idea if you work with entities to use post-loading on them. I don't think that's a good idea. Because each entity is different. And some of them are more logic-based or emotion-based or extensions of yourself, or really you don't want to go into situations with entities where you are using a technique like post-loading in the way that I described. The way that you want to use post-loading is to enhance your own mental state regarding a working. So, if you were performing an evocation, you might start out with one ritual, perform it to the letter, and then when you get closer to the end of the ritual, you incorporate a breathing exercise or something to focus you right toward the end. You can incorporate a breathing exercise anywhere in the process, but don't think that your meditative states have to be limited to prior to the ritual. You can also, similar to pre and post loading, is there are all kind of alignments and associations, such as days of the week, planetary hour, planetary day, and other associations, different herbs, different incenses, different oils. Those are all neuro-linguistic tools for you just as much as they are ritual tools. They help you get into the correct mind frame and state to accomplish your working. One thing in which ASMR really excels is the idea of involving the person in the video. So right now, it seems very much like you and I are having a one-on-one experience. Yeah. It's really nice, isn't it? It's very safe. If you at any point feel like I'm getting too close to you, or if you feel like you're not vibing with me, or if you fall asleep, or if for any other reason we lose this rapport, it's okay. It's temporary and artificial. We don't have to know each other. That's one of my personal favorite things about ASMR, because I actually really get uncomfortable when people in real life situations touch me. There's a lot of trust involved. Trust between people in real life situations is much more difficult to negotiate. But because of that, you also have to trust the ASMR person you are watching in the video. a little bit. You don't know if you fall asleep what kind of suggestions that person could be making to you. But you know, if you trust that ASMR artist, that they have good intentions for you. I can tell you that I only have the best intentions for all of you, and that the reason I started this channel is because I want to help all of you reach your highest potential, and that I don't have any motivation to do anything other than what I feel like is going to enhance all of our greatest and highest good. So I want you to know that. And if you vibe with that, that's good. And I'm glad that you're here. And if you don't vibe with that, that's okay too. That's just fine, actually, because you're not going to vibe with everyone you meet. And that's just how it is. But regardless of how you feel about me, you do need to know that I have nothing but the best of intentions for you. Now, that brings me back to what I was saying about involvement. So, ASMR videos are excellent at demonstrating how a person can be drawn in and involved in a piece of media, or what a person is saying, or any number of ways of creating that rapport with another person so that you can incorporate other neuro-linguistic programming techniques and mold that experience. Now, all of these techniques you can use on yourself. And all of them create this involvement. One of the best ways of creating involvement is a breathing exercise. So let's close out this video with a breathing exercise. We will create rapport with each other, and you can see how using a breathing exercise can center you and can create this state that makes you receptive. And you can see how you can create receptivity states to enhance your magical workings using not just breathing exercises, but many other types of stimuli and the other things that we have discussed in this video. So please, I'm going to take one of these balls away. And how this is going to work is I'm going to, as I count to 5, I'm going to roll this glass ball towards you, and you will breathe in. It's like you're breathing in the whole world. And then I'm going to spin it here for the count of 5. And you'll hold the breath in. and that is holding in the divine energy and the white purifying light. Okay, and then I'm going to roll the ball back to the count of 5, and you will exhale. And we'll do this 5 times. All right, are you ready? Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a big one. Here's the last one. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I hope you feel a strong, healthy bond between us. And I will see you